name's Dee and welcome to Untitled Tarot. Now this is a general reading for your star sign, for Sun, Moon or Rising. As it's detailed in the title, it's a bulk introduction for all 12. So as ever, there will be a time signature down below, so you can skip ahead to the reading because you really want to watch 3 of them if you can. Sun sign, obviously. And moon sign is highly relevant, especially with this being a lunar eclipse. And your rising sign was the most important sign in ancient astrology, so that's one to go for as well. If you're not familiar with what your moon and rising sign is, there is a link in the chart below. I'm not going to spend too much on the astrology of this lunar eclipse, apart from it's 2020. It's big, because of course it is. It's 2020. And I've also done a video with astrologer David Fisher, which you should find a link to that down below as well. As for other housekeeping about links down below, there's also a link to the Facebook page for this channel where you can contact me directly if you're wanting me for a personal reading. Plus I post all of these videos and I post all the astrology videos that I'm watching, the weather report style readings. So general reading rules apply. You know, this time is hardly absolute. With a lunar eclipse, they say it can last up to 3 months, sometimes a month before and 2 months afterwards. With a solar eclipse, which of course we're having in 2 weeks, then that can be more of a 6-month cycle. So, you know, take that under advisement as you're listening to the reading. It's a full moon gods at play reading, obviously, because that's what I do for the full moon. So by their very nature, they are dramatic. That's the whole design of the reading. I'll discuss that more when I bring the cards up. But first, I just want to spend a moment looking at the symbols of the degrees where this full moon is taking place. So it's occurring at 9:29 a.m. GMT. So amend that time for your time difference from GMT, for your time zone, sorry, I should say. At 8 degrees 37 minutes of Gemini. So in terms of the symbol, that is the 9th degree of Gemini. So if we look at the inside degrees, for the actual moon itself, we have wildflowers growing around the ruins of a temple. Now the interpretation of this is really nice. Catching a second wind, taking a booster rocket from one cycle to another, one lifetime to another, or one whole stage in evolution to another. Now that sounds great, phenomenal. And we could certainly use that with everything that's been going on. So, shot out of a cannon to discover the next great thing. You are wildly attentive to signs and portents, looking for a way to the future. Well, you're watching this, aren't you? So, coming out of immense soul experience with flying colours leaping forth into the new. Enthusiastic, naive and impressionable, eager for 1,000 universes to come true. Now, there's a really interesting point. We have Neptune stationing during this full moon. So at the same time, it is squaring the nodes. So the power of the future is causing a tension with your dreams. So you may be forced closer towards the truth, you know, an objective truth, whatever that is, or even further into your dreams, where really you want to try to balance reality in your dreams. The whole idea of a square is that you find a creative solution using both aspects of that, both ends, like using Neptune and the North Node, using how you're setting your future with your dreams. Anyway, to continue the symbol, enthusiastic, naive and impressionable. I already said that, didn't I? You feel the ultimate springtime quality of fresh immediacy and wind-blown alacrity, just sensing all through body and soul, the possibilities, the openings, what wants to happen next. A destiny bearer, universal in spirit and in the right place at the right time for the remarkable synchronicities and huge turnarounds. That offers a lot of hope. But then again, it could, with it being the eclipse, this is the That's the image of the degree that is being obscured, where the moon is going into this degree and then all light from the moon disappears. So that's the ideal use of this degree. But there's a double edge to that, that unless you're really making the effort, you won't get to use the power of that degree, because the moon obviously is eclipsed. But the good news is it's only a partial eclipse, so you do still get some light from the moon, so you do still get some of the energy from this degree. But what was interesting is the opposing degree, 8 degrees Sagittarius. I'll come back when I can learn to speak. Where the sun is shining and is casting its light, the light that is partially obscured by the shadow of the earth when it hits the moon. So we have, for inside degrees, a man with green skin. He is dressed with leaves. Playful, exuberant, spontaneous and elusive, you are restless under constraint, with all of civilization representing constraint. You're desperate to be free. When not held down, you have spectacular abilities and affinities, but when bound by time, you become abrasive and provoking. Temperamental in extreme ways, aching for free movement in a vast territory, drawn to every extreme that exists. Here we see again that power of Neptune being stationary. It actually turns stationary on the, well, becomes stationary, I should say, on the day of the full moon. The body and soul of one who can never be identified, tamed or narrowed. You are the one who knows how deep the earth is, surging with volatile currents, and these bear all hope and promise if they are followed with open arms. The one who shows everybody what life is like when it lets itself go and contagiously ripples, with permission and encouragement for each and all to come out and play and explore the far edges, and even perhaps over those edges into the greater wilderness, claiming the allegiance of those whose wildness is no passing whim, but the only viable way. So again, we've got that double edge. We've got that power of Neptune going on. Are you going to dive deeper into your echo chamber? Are you going to dream a better future? Are you going to be able to look at reality and make those dreams into reality and not just think that you're in those dreams? You know, there's all sorts of different levels here. This is very much a decision time. It's a preparatory time. We are coming up to the Great Conjunction, which, as I saw in one video going, well, it's only every 20 years, but it's part of a far larger cycle. The Saturn-Jupiter conjunction is the first time it's occurring in an air sign, and now for the next 200 years or so, it will be occurring in air signs. So we've got what's called a mutation, a great shift into air, a great shift into being more intellectual, more informed, and possibly a little less emotional, for good or for ill. You know, there's no one's going to say that there is anything wrong with emotions. They have their place. They are vital to how we function. But in the meantime, this is a house clearing time to sort out, hang on a minute, what am I wanting to achieve here, and what do I no longer need to achieve it? And that's definitely an empowered negative statement. What do I need to dispose of in order to achieve what I'm wanting to achieve? Now, this degree is ruled by, if I remember correctly, it's ruled by Rochelle, who is an angel all about restitution and finding lost objects. So again, there's the lost objects, not as the things that you're getting rid of, but the things that you are making space for. Now, opposing this, Yehuya, who I did not actually just draw the meaning up for. Let's see, Yehuya, where we got? So, Yehuya, now here's a good one. Revealing the dark side or subordination to higher order. Now, again, there's two ways. Considering we had that image all about rebellion and trying to find freedom, there's two ways you can see that higher order. Are we talking about a mundane higher order, a higher order that is existing here on the planet, or are we talking more to a more esoteric, spiritual submission to the higher order of the divine? And again, that choice is slowly being presented to us by each individual piece being brought up to our attention, each individual piece of our dreams, piece of our belief systems, piece of our day-to-day life, day-to-day practice being brought up to go, you know, do I really need this? And either answer is okay, but you have to ask the question. So either answer is like, no, I don't need this anymore. Its time has passed. That's fine. Or yes, this is essential for what I want to accomplish. This is essential for me being whom I want to be. And it will enable us to love our own process more, if that makes sense. And the reason I say that is ruling the decan that this eclipse is occurring in on the moon side is the goetic spirit Ammon. Certainly in the day it is Ammon, and at night it is Sabnok. So here for the northern hemisphere, well, if it's daytime and Ammon is ruling it wherever it is, and if it's nighttime it's Sabnok. So looking at Ammon is a goetic spirit who can be very much about love. Can be used or can be appealed to in love magic that gives aid in divination. So Ammon's energies can certainly help us try and see the future with a little bit more clarity. And this is interesting. Ammon gives aid in divination and helps the sorcerer get in touch with her true will. So it's not just my vision for the future, my dream for the future under all that Neptunian influence. It's going, hang on a minute, this dream I've got of the future, is this what I really want? Is it one of these, I think someone called them on a video I was watching recently, false beliefs? You know, because you get brought up to be told that you need to be a doctor or a lawyer, and if you're not those, then you're not good enough. Or that everybody needs the house and 2.5 kids and the car. Or, you know, all of these beliefs that are what society or family or whoever or the TV tells you that you want, when actually is, no, I want to ride on horseback on a ranch in the middle of nowhere. I want to spend my life hosting a YouTube channel. I want to spend my life living in the forest and caring for the forest. Or I really want to get involved in social work, tapestry, you know, knitting, you know, whatever it is that really floats your boat. You have to be able to say, yeah, hang on a minute, that floats your boat. I've been fighting for the past 10 years to save enough money to put a mortgage down on this house, and I don't even want to be a homeowner. I want to be free. I want to do what free people do. You know, there's really diving down to go, okay, I want the house and the car, or I don't want the house and the car. I want happiness. I want success in business. I want success in love. I want to make my friends' lives better, my clients' lives better. I want to paint things. You know, whatever it is that you want, just learning to be honest about what it is that you want and then going for it. Now, Sabnok, what have I got on Sabnok? Not a lot of information. Now, he builds high towers and castles and cities on the astral plane. So he's all about constructing. If you know anything about creative visualization, which is often covered under nowadays under like law of attraction. You visualize a situation, a condition, whatever it is that you're wanting to bring into being, and you visualize it so hard, is that the way to say it, that you are believing yourself in it and you are knowing that it is already real. That is building a castle on the astral plane, which is exactly what Sabnok is doing. So Amon is helping you identify what you want to build, or if the eclipse is happening during nighttime for you, Sabnok is helping you build the vision of it and therefore be calling that into your future. Assuming, of course, you're taking the advantage to, well, to clear out the stuff that you do not need. Now, there was another thing that I wanted to go back to, the 8 degrees Gemini symbols. Yes, the 8 degrees Gemini symbol for the the Omega symbol, a ruby growing in a laboratory, however you say it. So even though fake, but not fake, it's still a ruby. It's beautiful, it's crystalline, and I personally love red. I mean, I wear a lot of garnet. Ruby is actually, I prefer garnet to ruby, but ruby has such a depth and motion to it with that red color, with that red vibration of moving forward with things. But this is not so much about moving forward, this lunar eclipse. This is about preparing to move forward and knowing which way forward is. There's not much more that I want to say. Obviously, if this has been useful for you, like, share and subscribe. I'm sure I'll say that at the end of the reading as well. But also, now you can breathe a sigh of relief and press the timestamp thing, get to the readings. I'll bring the cards up for you. Okay, Aries, so if you've watched one of these readings before, you're aware that this top row here does not represent the gods, but represents the masks of the archons, pretending to be the gods, that they are wearing to try and keep you away from your divine purpose. And this bottom row is the gods themselves trying to lift you up towards the divine. So we've drawn Isis, so I have already drawn something from the Isis oracle, the cartouche, the divine names of power. It is saying be very careful with speech. Be very, very careful with what you are saying. There's an element of basically think before you speak. The gods, well, the archontic masks that are arraigned against you, we have Akat with dedication, Aries with battle, Hathor with contentment, Kaliach with endurance, and Pluton with the underworld on your side, trying to lift you up and help you reconnect. Is quite positive because we have love, and we have Orpheus here with Eros with love. We have Orpheus here with music. But one thing in this good position, the one thing I'm immediately reminded of was Orpheus's love for Eurydice. He actually challenged the underworld. So it's interesting that these two cards have come out together. He challenged the underworld to try and get her soul back to the realm of the living. Admittedly, he fell at the last post. But the immense amount of love that went through this, he was wanting to create a resurrection, which is what Isis here is representing. Then we also have Uranus, the father, and Bast with play. So the story that I'm seeing here, there is something that you love that you could chase after, or there is your duty to which you are dedicated to already, and that you are being informed that it is worth going through whatever it is you may be going through to keep this duty up and running. That it is where you're going to find as much happiness as you're going to get. And it will involve fighting to keep your position within whatever this thing is where you are maintaining your duty. But we have Luia with Revelation, the angel Luia, and we have the guardian angel of young adults, both of which indicate to me a fresh start, especially with Uranus being there, the unexpected, the all-encompassing sky. Okay, maybe not the best father, but it is within his body that the stars were set. It is from his coupling with the Mother Earth that we all came from. There is a great sense of that creative energy. Admittedly, he was not the source of all creation, but he was the source of our creation. Give or take a few generations, Prometheus, blah, 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 blah. But, you know, essentially it boils down to here in the solar system, Uranus is the father of everything. So we have this force for something that you love, that you can gain a rebirth through, where information is going to come to you and you are basically called to play for it, play with it. You are not encouraged in this reading to carry on with the duty where you are settling for second best, I think is a good way to put it. That where you are being called upon to fight, to retain your position, to now what's that phrase? The slings and arrows of the uncaring fates, or something like that. Well, you're being put into a position where you are supposed to be withstanding all the slings and arrows of the uncaring fates. And for what? Precisely for what? Because what you actually love, what brings you that fresh start, what brings you that, I mean, I don't even want to necessarily say fresh start, because, hey, it's so cliche in a reading. But think about the passion that you'd have for a project that you're going to take on board as a teenager. You know, if you turn around and say what you're talking about, there is an adherence when you're when there's something you've set your mind on as a teenager. You will gain joy from it, and you will stick with it until you've done it to death. Whatever it is, doesn't have to. When I say the word project, it doesn't necessarily mean it was a school thing or an education thing. It could have been being a goth, being a rocker. I'm showing my age. Being a raver, being an artist, playing an instrument, or working your way to be your school's first millionaire, or whatever has gave you that sense of, I'm doing this, this is my thing, this is where I belong doing this for the time being. Although for the time being doesn't normally echo into it in that thought process. But that is where I think your attentions need to be drawn to. That this news that's coming to you that opens up a window for you to go, that's what I love and that's what I want to do. But at the very, very same time, in effect, the daily grind is pulling you back, going, oh, no. Do not be that nail that stands up above the rest. You carry on doing what you're doing. You've been okay at it. It's going okay. You're doing well. You just carry on. We'll see what you get. And where you end up is in the underworld at the end of it, But, I mean, we're all going to end up there at some point anyway. But there is a lack of music. There is a feeling that, why are you supposed to put up with what your duty that you are dedicated to is putting you through when you're not feeling the joy of it, you know, they're okay. And that's what I'm getting with Hathor, with contentment in as an archontic mask. It's that things are okay. There's that sense of don't rock the boat. Let's see what the tarot have got to add to it. And they're eager to add to it. So, okay. Whatever this thing is that lights this fire within you, I do feel that it's not it's certainly not the same old, but it does give you a wonderful sense of joy and expansiveness. And you have, it will be revealed to you that you do have the material foundations to strike out on this path of whatever it is that you love. Now, that is not necessarily saying that if you've got a duty in your day-to-day life, employment world, whatever, that you need to just abandon it, but just be fair with it. Do not give it more than it requires. Do not give it more than you need to. Make sure that this love is pursued, felt, experienced, however you want to see it, because you are going to be finding a like-minded set of people if you get over the defensiveness of it. And there's no reason why you shouldn't be defensive of it, because from this top row there is pressure just to abandon it, let it go, don't do it. I advise that you ignore that pressure, because you will feel so much the better for it. If you step onto the pathway of living this new love, not necessarily new, do you know, I keep calling it new love because of young adult, and I'm thinking of that young cardinal energy and the cardinal energy of Aries anyway, but it's not necessarily new as in your feelings towards it. What is new is you being in a position to do something about it, or actually doing something about it. That's the new bit. But there is a harvest to be gained if you're putting the work in. And we've got 777 here, which angel number 77, whatever it is, look it up, can't remember. But I think it's like quite magical and lucky. I think, it's indicating good fortune and return for work that you've put in. So it's time to maybe lessen the duties that you are normally feeling, and be aware that if in that day-to-day role, that day-to-day dedication, that you are bored with it, then there's really good reason. You're not going to find the happiness that you desire just by doing the same old, when there is this love, whatever it is, that gives you such a fire inside, opens up. And this is what this cartouche Divine Names of Power card talks about, and the Isis card itself with resurrection. You can create a new you, a new life, by following this love, by playing with the idea and ensuring that you do have where was the time bit out? Maybe it was here with the music, but that ensuring that you do allow Justice card, that was it. That you do allow time to develop this new love, take advantage of the news that comes to you, which opens up a window to go, hey, I can do it. I can actually make space in my life for it. And this is making space in your life for something that can, one, expand and slowly take over more parts of your life, but two, you actually want it to do that. You know, it's not where at the end of it you're suddenly going, oh God, I wish I'd never started this. It's more of a, I started this as a part-time thing and now it's every waking moment and I'm loving every minute of it. You know, so that's the end goal. And whatever these duties are, they don't hold that fire for you, and you don't have to put up with. Now, Nine of Cups here with Kaliak. You're getting a pleasure from, yes, I've beat that obstacle. I beat that obstacle. I've overcome this challenge. Yeah, great. I'm glad. But is it lighting that fire inside you? Or are you feeding somebody else's gluttony with it? And the other thing so there's peaches and lemons on this card. Let's do it so it doesn't reflect. And I'm immediately thought that if life gives you lemons, you're supposed to make lemonade. And there's not a great deal of lemonade going on there. Oh, coconuts as well. It's almost like you're not getting the chance to enjoy the fruits of your own labours, which is where the gluttony aspect of the Nine of Cups is playing in. I'm wondering if you are feeding someone else's gluttony rather than feeding your own passions. That's actually a really, really nice option that this lunar eclipse full moon is going to open up for you. Now, lunar eclipse energies last for a while, you know, so I'm not saying it's this week, but there's some good stuff here. Follow your own inner passion. All right, cheers.